approve legislation to end the government shutdown, now in its 43rd day. It was on Monday night the legislation cleared the Senate. NPR's Deirdre Walsh has the latest.
The Senate approved a bill that would fund most agencies through the end of January and include full-year funding for veterans programs and food assistance. Most Democrats criticized the deal for failing to address expiring health care subsidies. The top Senate Republican did pledge to hold a vote in December on a health care bill, but House Speaker Mike Johnson says he won't guarantee a House vote. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is urging fellow Democrats to vote no.
We're not going to support partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
If the House approves the measure, it will head to the White House for the president's signature, ending the shutdown. Deirdre Walsh, NPR News, the Capitol.
The record-long government shutdown has left investors with delayed economic information. NPR's Scott Horsley has more on that.
The 6-week shutdown has been a drag on the U.S. economy. Congressional forecasters estimate it will shave about 1.5 percentage points off the annual growth rate in fourth-quarter GDP. The government economists who tally GDP growth are among those furloughed by the shutdown. We're still waiting for a readout on third-quarter economic growth that was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago. One of the first economic reports we are likely to see once the shutdown ends is the September jobs report. That was nearly finished when government number crunchers were told to stop working. Stock and computer chip maker AMD opened higher after the company offered a rosy sales forecast driven by the growth of AI data centers. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
The Israeli president's office says it's received a letter from President Trump urging a pardon for Benjamin Netanyahu in the prime minister's corruption trial. Netanyahu was indicted for allegedly receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gifts from businessmen. He denies any wrongdoing and has pleaded not guilty. NPR's Lauren Frayer reports.
Here's part of what President Trump said in a speech to Israel's Knesset last month.
Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon?
Now, in a letter released by the Israeli president's office, Trump repeats that, writing, quote, "I hereby call on you to fully pardon Benjamin Netanyahu." He calls Netanyahu's prosecution political and unjustified. Israel's mostly ceremonial president does have the authority to pardon some criminals, but an official close to his office who isn't authorized to speak on the matter tells NPR you can't pardon someone who hasn't been convicted, and notes the Israeli president has urged Netanyahu and prosecutors to halt the trial and strike a deal. Lauren Frayer, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
At last check on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 400 points. This is NPR News. A new study reveals who's doing most of the talking on podcasts. Researchers at the University of Southern California say it's mostly men. NPR's Anastasia Siulkas with details.
Nearly a third of all Americans now listen to or watch podcasts every week, but more often than not, it's men's voices that they're hearing. Researchers at the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative have found that in the 100 most popular podcasts of 2024, nearly 2/3 were hosted by men, and nearly 3/4 of all guests were male, too. The researchers say that's a far greater gender inequity than in similar research they've done in the movie, TV, and music industries. Women are particularly underrepresented in business, tech, sports, fitness, and comedy podcasts. The researchers also found that over 77% of the top 100 hosts were white, leaving a lot of communities out of the conversation. Anastasia Tsioukas, NPR News, New York.
The World Health Organization says a number of people diagnosed with tuberculosis around the globe rose again last year, surpassing 2023's record total. About 8.3 million people around the world reported as newly diagnosed with TB in 2024. The WHO notes that not all infections are diagnosed and that the new numbers represent 78% of the estimated number of actual new cases. The Dow is up 391 points. S&P's gained 9. The Nasdaq is down 65. This is NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive Insurance, where drivers can compare direct rates using Progressive's rate comparison tool. Customers can see options and rates side by side. More at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Wildwood Resort and Marina on Cordell Hall Lake, offering corporate and nonprofit retreats, getaways, and celebrations 1 hour east of Nashville year-round. More at visitwildwood.com.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. It is a special Roundabout edition. Our panel is here to talk about, really, one thing, which at the end of the day is our most basic need: food. Food insecurity, nutrition, hunger. It's all the same thing, keeping nutritious food on the table in a country that has more than enough food to feed all of us. The stall out in federal food benefits show just how precarious our food security can be. I spent Saturday morning at East Hickman High School in Hickman County with producer Josh Deepin talking to the hundreds of people who were lined up, some before dawn, to get a trunk load of produce and staple items. Justin O'Neill and Lexus O'Daniel talked to me with their toddler who was talking away in the back seat. They receive money each month from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, with additional money for women, infants, and children, known as WIC.
Altogether, if you were to take and add up what we get between the WIC and the food stamps, it covers about $700 worth of groceries.
So in a normal time, a normal month, are you all needing to come to something like this?
We usually still typically come just because of the simple fact of we still need a little bit every month, but whatever we don't use, we donate to churches.
I do landscaping, and everything's slowing down right now at the end of the season, so money's just getting tighter and tighter.
You getting creative in the kitchen?
Very. You like got what? To nowadays.
Bunch of throw together meals.
Yes.
Dada, I'll just talk to her.
Oh, you just want to talk to her?
Last thing, and it really is the child piece. Are you concerned about making sure that the kids get what they need?
Yes, very concerned.
That's like our main concern. I think it's a worry for everybody and their kids nowadays, especially with SNAP and WIC being gone right now. It's like either a temporary thing or permanent. We don't know yet.
Well, since then, it is looking more temporary, with the government seemingly on its way to reopening, and it's becoming more clear what that timing will look like for Justin O'Neill and Lexus O'Daniel of Hickman County, with news out this morning from the Tennessee Department of Human Services about how they'll start distributing benefits as soon as today, which we'll get into. We're going to hear from many people this hour who are struggling with the cost of food as we focus our Roundabout panel on food insecurity, nutrition, and hunger. And we're taking your calls. How are you making ends meet right now? What programs have popped up in recent weeks that are helping our community during this difficult time? You can join us on air at 615-760-2000. We're also streaming video from the studio on YouTube. Hello. It's an easy place to leave a comment in the chat if you'd like to about your own experience. YouTube.com/@WPLN. It's under the live tab there. All right, I've made the panel just sit here and listen to me yak at them, but I'll introduce them. Our panelists are Joshua Rosales, who leads the nonprofit Break-Thru, Tennessee, which focuses on underserved communities. It's based in Smyrna in Rutherford County. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Signe Anderson is Senior Director of Nutrition Advocacy at the Tennessee Justice Center, who is joining us from a SNAP conference in Washington, D.C. So, Signe, thanks for making time.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And Catherine Sweeney's WPLN's health reporter, who's been covering SNAP since long before this shutdown and Tennessee's rocky track record with the program, which we'll get into later this hour. Welcome, Catherine.
Hey, Blake.
All right, so Signe, I may start with you on the line in D.C. How quickly do you expect SNAP benefits to be restored as the government reopens?
So we've started hearing from families as of today that they're starting to get partial benefits, which is really good news. And we are hopeful that full benefits will come out to families in the very, very near future. We still don't have the details of when that will be, but it's a step in the right direction today, seeing some benefits getting on cards.
Yeah, we got this email from the Tennessee Department of Human Resources that says they're going to issue those partial payments. I think it's about 65% of the normal amount for the month of November. Is that percentage like a decision made at the state or federal level? Do you know?
That was made at the federal level, and there's a more complicated formula involved with it. You get 65% if you receive the maximum benefit, but most families don't receive the maximum benefit. Many receive somewhere in the middle. On average, a household of one receives about $188 a month in benefits. So there's a bit of a complicated formula. We are hearing from families that they could get as little as just $12 in partial benefits. So we're really, really waiting for those full benefits to come through.
I see. Catherine, do we know what that process is going to look like over the next week or two?
I think high level we do. Like you said, we were getting notification from the Department of Human Services. Signe had to explain this to me recently. Tennessee doesn't just drop all of the benefits for SNAP on the first of the month. People get them sometime between the 1st and the 20th, depending on the last couple digits of their Social Security number. So anybody who should have gotten their benefits by now, between the 1st and the 12th, they're going to get them today. And then people will get their partial benefits on their regular date if they would usually get them after the 12th. So again, it's all partial benefits, but if people's normal dates is before the 12th, they should have them today. And then if they usually would get them later, they'll get them later.
Joshua, can you talk to us about the kind of surge in demand that nonprofits like yours have seen for food assistance over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, there's been a big surge. Nonprofits, I mean, you can even see it on social media, Facebook, Instagram, where nonprofits are really looking to partner and are partnering with food banks, creating partnerships with churches. So we are seeing it on the rise within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And what about folks who are directly asking your organization, like Break-Thru Tennessee, for help? I mean, you all do more than food, but are you seeing demand directly from individuals who are affected?
So the few that have come to us in regards to food, we have on our website a list of all the food banks in Davidson County that we direct them to. Plus, we also have a lot of connections with other organizations that predominantly focus on food that we refer individuals families that call us or email us to. So we definitely want to make sure that we follow up with them to make sure that they're getting what they need. But that's why I think it's so important to have those partnerships where it's just we know where to send those families.
Well, Catherine, some states tried to really fill the gap left by SNAP payments. What is it that Tennessee has done to kind of fill that void over the last few weeks?
Right. So there was this big kind of push for Tennessee to tap the rainy day fund. That's this, it's what it sounds like, a savings account for when things are going poorly. And there's $2 billion in it. But that isn't what happened. Governor Lee pledged to pull some money out of a different fund. That's kind of hard to explain. But basically, the federal government has a special deal for how it manages its Medicaid program, TennCare. If they keep their costs low, they get to keep some of the money. So they pledged to pull about $5 million out of that. For a little context, SNAP benefits for Tennessee usually run about $145 million a month. So $5 million is not exactly a huge proportion of that, but it was to go to the food banks. And other states have done similar things, pulling money out of savings account to go to food banks, to varying levels. More progressive states are putting more money in it. States like Illinois have already set up funds to kind of hedge against program cuts like these from the Trump administration. And then on the West Coast, their state governments really worked hard to kind of use some legal loopholes and get all of the benefits out. And during one of the court fights where it kind of looked for a second like, people are going to be allowed to do that, that's a little bit of a messy story legally.
Yeah, Joshua, I mean, you kind of come from, representing conservative side of things in politics. We even saw many Republicans, maybe not many elected officials, but folks on the right saying, "Hey, we need to try to do something." What say you?
I think Governor Glenn Youngkin did a really great job in Virginia when he said, "Hey, this is a crisis," and so he did his part to fund the SNAP program there. The other thing that I was talking to my wife the other day because she's on the Rutherford County School Board, and my whole thing is, do we need to pour more money into it, or do we need to look internally to see like where can we like shift some things? And so my whole thing, and I didn't, is the school system. They get lunch. Kids get lunch. If we really look internally, and I'm not sure how much, but a lot of food gets thrown away. A lot of food gets thrown away. And I was asking my wife, I was like, how could we as a state say, okay, instead of throwing tons and tons and probably millions and millions and millions of dollars away in food, why couldn't we partner? Why couldn't the Davidson County school system, Rutherford County school system, like all these school systems partner with organizations, nonprofits, and say, hey, at the end of every day or whenever, come by, pick up the food, and then let's distribute it to families that are in need. It's instead of throwing money away, we can redirect the money. So I think that's something that we could look at.
Yeah, obviously complex logistics there, but I know that my daughter barely touches her lunch, so hers would be free to go anywhere. I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. Our Roundabout panel is digging into food insecurity, and we're bringing listeners into this in just a moment here. Have you seen hunger in a new way in the last few weeks because of this crisis with SNAP benefits being paused? What's this episode revealed to you about feeding our community? Join us on air at 615-760-2000, or you're welcome to leave your thoughts on the chat there if you're watching the YouTube stream at youtube.com/@WPLN, where we're streaming video. Signe, hunger is this really complicated issue. The numbers are unbelievable. Feeding America says 1 in 6 Tennesseans, that's more than 1 million of us, struggle with hunger. And yet that word hunger is kind of complicated too, because it's also in a state with one of the country's worst obesity challenges. An estimated 2.5 million folks in the state considered obese. Would you mind helping us out? How do those two trends exist at the same time in the same state?
Yeah, I mean, hunger, it looks like many different things, and hunger is tied to health. And folks who don't have access to SNAP and money aren't able to afford fruits and vegetables and the things that they need to eat healthier. And so having a strong SNAP benefit is really important, and making sure that people have the money to buy the food they need to be healthy is really important.
Josh, you want to add on there?
I think, and coming from maybe not just, I think this is a bipartisan thing, but I think the SNAP program, we've gotten to a point where I feel like we need to reform the SNAP program, the food stamps, the welfare, because, like, I think that the SNAP program should be only for healthy foods, not for sodas and not for other chips and other things that I see families when I'm in the store sometimes that are putting in their basket. And I think that if we could reform SNAP in some way where it's only healthy food, like the WIC program is phenomenal. Love the WIC program.
Because it's just like dairy and formula.
Let's reform the SNAP program. I bet you that will correlate with bringing down the percentage of obesity, because now instead of putting chips in there, if you really need help and you really need SNAP benefits, do you really need Cheetos and Coke and stuff like that?
Well, it is complicated because often those foods are among the least expensive, and the healthier they are, often the price goes up. So you make a good point there. Joshua, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says groceries have gone up like nearly 30% in the last 5 years. I mean, I think we can all nod along with that.
Yes,
Somebody was talking about an $8 thing of orange juice the other day, which I had a hard time believing, and then saw, indeed, you can pay $8 for a jug of orange juice. I wonder, from your experience, Joshua, what kind of choices you find that people who've worked with your nonprofit are making, like going without this so they can afford that?
So I'm seeing it not all the time, but I'm seeing it often where people are having to go without. It's like, I got to pay my rent, or I got to pay my mortgage. Then I got my children, got food, and they're having to do that. Even in our household, we're having to say, okay, from the past we're just like, let's just do. Now it's like, okay, let's but we got to ratchet down. We got to budget, and it's like, what do we pay first? What do we pay second? Really sticking to our budget. And we're finding that. And I'm not sure if this is the time to do it or not, but, back during COVID, I was talking to you in regards to the Farmers to Family Food Box program. We passed out over 2 million food boxes under the first Trump administration through the Trump administration headed by Ivanka Trump. We had the Farmers to Family Food Box program through the USDA, and I was hoping that was 10 months. And then I was hoping we had lines and lines and lines. We were sending 40 trucks every week all over Tennessee. I have stacks of churches and nonprofits that we were sending these refrigerated semi-trucks to that were giving out milk. And they were giving out milk and meat and cottage cheese and yogurt and celery, all in this 35-pound box. We were excited. We were doing it for 10 months, and all of a sudden the administration changes, and under the Biden administration, they cut that program off. And I was really hoping that once the new administration came in with President Trump, that he would turn that program back on, because I'm telling you, that helped a lot of Tennesseans. There was older people that were eating dog food and cat food during COVID because they didn't have enough to eat.
Yeah, we were out with this organization, One Gen Away, this weekend, and they really called this
great organization
COVID-2. That it was the same kind of thing. A lot of the uncertainty that they're seeing. Signe, your time is short, I know, and so we're going to have to let you go here at the break. But I wanted to get one more question in with you, which is, you look at the map. Davidson County has the highest number of SNAP recipients in Middle Tennessee, but that percentage is much higher in rural counties. Does this mean rural communities in Tennessee have a bigger issue with food insecurity?
Food insecurity happens in every single county in Tennessee, rural and urban. But when you get into the rural areas, you see a higher per capita participation in SNAP. Some of it's because of the availability of employment, and some of it is, accessing grocery stores too are an issue for rural areas. So SNAP is really important, whether you're in the rural area or urban. And I think the other thing that I wanted to lift up right before I have to jump off is that the emergency food system and SNAP work in tandem. You can't fight hunger with the emergency food alone. There's been a great effort, but for every one food bank meal SNAP provides 9. And our food bank partners will say over and over again that we really need SNAP to work in order to make sure in order to fight hunger.
Well, Signe, we thank you for taking a break and making some time for us. So we'll say goodbye to you. Safe travels on your return trip from D.C., and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the challenges federal food benefits already faced in Tennessee. We're also going to be joined in the studio by a SNAP advocate and beneficiary. And we're going to take some of your calls, so hang on there on the line. Tell us about how SNAP has helped your family. Or have you had trouble getting SNAP benefits in Tennessee? Well, you're not alone. Join us on the air with your experience at 615-760-2000, or leave a comment on the web stream, youtube.com/@WPLN. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, working to help donors make more possible through the power of community giving. More at cfmt.org. And the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Vanderbilt University, offering intellectual courses for adults over 50. Learn more about the wide-ranging topics and full curriculum at vanderbilt.edu/OLLI. And Bax Homeworks, a Nashville remodeling company working to help transform homes from dated to dazzling by updating kitchens, bathrooms, decks, and more throughout the Nashville area. Learn more at baxhomeworks.com.
I'm Scott Tong. President Trump pardoned Rudy Giuliani and others who challenged the 2020 election. A new investigation finds almost everyone pardoned in Trump 2.0 are supporters, donors, culture war figures.
He is almost exclusively pardoning and granting clemency to people who don't qualify for it under the existing Department of Justice standards.
Next time, Here and Now.
this afternoon at 1 on 90.3 WPLN News.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Struggling to put food on the table is nothing new for hundreds of thousands of Tennessee families. Some of us are just paying closer attention right now. Peggy Martin is a retired nurse from Nunley, Tennessee, who's raising 3 grandkids. She was waiting on a load of food over the weekend in line with hundreds of others, but that's nothing new for her family, even before she was trying to make up for $500 a month in lost SNAP benefits.
First off, my husband's on disability. He's had 2 heart attacks. I'm raising 3 grandchildren, and we're on a fixed income, and we're on a low fixed income, too. And so we've just kind of clunked along. We raise some produce of our own, and we hunt a little bit and fish, too. And then we have found out about the food giveaways, so we go to them.
How regularly would this be something you stop by?
We go every month. Yeah, and sometimes we go twice a month because we try to catch the one in Fairview, just for the bare necessities. You know, cooking flour is almost $5 for 5 pounds. And, you know, and for to cook a meal, it takes 2.5 cups to make the bread for the morning meal. So, because I've been measuring things. And it is difficult to stretch this out.
You actually also hunt for the purpose of having meat.
Yes. Now, my grandkids have gotten big enough to fish, and my granddaughter is an excellent fisherman. She got a 12-pound catfish not long ago. And
you cooked it up?
Yes. We ate all of it. And we squirrel hunt. And small varmints, let's call them.
This sounds like another time, you know?
Yeah. Lots of people say that about me and the kids, that I've made little old people out of them. If I had not been raised country and knew how to survive, I would really be in a fix.
Peggy Martin of Nunley, Tennessee, one of the 700,000 people making ends meet with the loss of SNAP benefits this month, though they're being restored as we speak. How are you getting by? And this, I'm talking to you, listeners. Maybe this isn't the first time you've had trouble getting SNAP benefits or running out at the end of the month. Share your experience with us. The number is 615-760-2000, or you can drop a comment in the chat on our video stream. It's youtube.com/@WPLN. Our roundtable, Roundabout panel is here to talk food insecurity. Catherine Sweeney, our health reporter at WPLN. Joshua Rosales, founder of Break-Thru, Tennessee, based in Smyrna, which helps families in need. And joining us to talk about some of her lived experience on SNAP is Alexus Lawless, a mother of 2 here in Nashville, on a break from work. Thank you for getting across town to be here.
Of course. Thank you.
Well, would you humor us by talking about a little about how you started getting food assistance?
So I started on SNAP benefits as a aged out foster youth. So I went from foster care and aged out in foster care, and I was under the SNAP benefits able-bodied policy. So I received benefits for 3 months prior to getting disconnected because I was employed and working full-time. And then from there, fast forward to 19 and pregnant with my first child, whom I had at 20. And then I started WIC benefits and SNAP again, just to supplement what I wouldn't make on maternity leave.
Yeah. Well, so what's the process like? Because I imagine people are going off and on all the time. If you're working more, you're not How is that process? Is it all online these days?
So these days, yes, it is more online applications. There are more electronic notifications, deliveries. I've even opted in to get mail back because I don't always get the electronic deliveries that they send out in a timely manner. Or like now, I'm having trouble trying to renew my benefits because the electronic notification is not popping up on my actual profile online. So I'm worried about that, being able to renew my benefits and keep those benefits going, or not having a lapse like I did last year. Last year around this time, I actually did have a lapse where I had to appeal my benefits because they said that I was making too much money. while working at Kroger part-time. At one point, yes, I did make extra money in May, but the way that they had calculated it seemed as though I was making money over the summer, and I went through the whole appeal process, which took about 4 months, and then got my SNAP benefits back reinstated.
Well, Catherine's, nodding over here because we're going to get into, some of the complications of SNAP benefits that you're describing here. And if you've experienced this too, the number to join us on air is 615-760-2000. We'll get to the phones momentarily, but Catherine, SNAP has actually been front and center, prior to this most recent national crisis. But remind us what's going on with this class action lawsuit in Tennessee. Who sued who?
Yeah, so basically 12 people who went through what Alexus was just describing, they actually qualified, but because of glitches or, some kind of administrative error, they were deemed not eligible. So they started losing their benefits that they were entitled to, and then they had to go, like she mentioned, through an appeals process. That can be backed up. People were not getting calls that they were supposed to get, and they weren't being, scheduled for interviews they had to have to get their benefits back. Or, messages didn't come. People were trying to upload documents, and the website wouldn't accept them, and then would say, you don't have your documents, so you're going to lose your benefits. All these things. So 12 people initially, and the Contributor, which is a newspaper for people who are experiencing homelessness, but also does some social support services with them. They sued the Department of Human Services, which is the state agency that administers SNAP here in Tennessee. And they were saying, there's a lot of things that are happening that are actually breaking the law. There are timelines the agencies have to meet on how long those appeals processes take. And they were showing that Tennessee was missing the mark on that pretty commonly. So now to explain what's going on now is it's a bunch of nerdy legal stuff. They're arguing about what documents need to be given to the court or not. But there is, a plan for an improvement plan. They brought in a special legal counsel to kind of oversee it and talk to both sides and try to get them on the same page about what needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Well, is there any indication that there's a settlement coming around the bend?
A settlement, I don't know. I think that they're really just arguing about what problems that Tennessee was accused of are real is kind of where they are.
So the lawsuit just was to draw attention to a problem that needs to be fixed, and there's work going on there.
But similar lawsuits against, Department of Children's Services or things like that in the past here and in other states have ended up, and like Blake was saying, with settlements where this, the court says you guys need to get your act together. Here are specific ways you have to get your act together. We're going to have people checking in on you once a year to see if you're getting your act together in these specific ways.
One more thing, Alexus, you might be able to help us with this. Josh was bringing up about what SNAP covers, what you're allowed to buy with SNAP. What kind of limitations are there, in a grocery store, with what you can get with your SNAP card?
So with SNAP benefits, it is not like WIC where it is restricted. The only restrictions that you have for SNAP benefits is there are no hot, fresh foods. No tobacco.
So you couldn't get a $5 rotisserie chicken. Couldn't do that.
No. And trust me, they smell so good in the grocery store. Me and my kids want them, but we have to get the cold rotisseries that Walmart leaves out. So I can buy the cold one that they cooked yesterday.
That's cooked. But not hot.
But it's not hot.
Amazing. All right, but other things. I mean, are there limitations related to, let's say sodas, things that people might consider junk food?
So no, there are no limitations on those. And honestly, me personally, I restrict myself and I restrict my kids. I am a proud mother. I have made sure that they drink mostly water. The only thing that they absolutely drink is Sunny D outside of water. So, we are a house that does not partake in a lot of junk foods. We do opt in for a lot of fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, because they are frozen at that peak ripeness. So a lot of nutrition there.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about how folks can connect with the resources that are there to help them. And so I'm going to ask this, and then we're going to go straight to the phones. But we're going to get into gathering of active resources right now. If you've got a food program, large or small, that you want people to know about, we will get to as many as we can as we head into the back half of the hour here. The number is 615-760-2000. Or you can drop some of the details into the video stream. It's at youtube.com/@WPLN. Let's take a call. We've got, I think, the Kim Prince from Prince's Hot Chicken. What are you guys doing?
Hi there. It's been a wonderful time serving people. On just yesterday, we connected Prince's Hot Chicken's food truck, got to North Nashville, and worked with the Equity Alliance Feed the Block program. We served more than 300 meals, hot food. Listen to the previous caller talking about how you can't go to the grocery store to get hot food.
Hot temperature, hot spice, both.
I'm talking about both. You know, Nashville Hot Chicken, Prince's Hot Chicken has been around for 90 years in the Nashville area, and now that we've got the food truck, we mobilize and unify our efforts, showing solidarity to support the community. Nashville's been such a big supporter of our family business for 90 years now, and you know, what better way to give back than to go right back in the North.
Kim, have y'all done that kind of thing before, like just sort of an open giveaway at your food truck?
Yes. Prince Hot Chicken has done that. We do it on many levels, multiple efforts all over Middle Tennessee, as a matter of fact. But you know, during the pandemic, there's been many other times, many years ago, I'm thinking even 20, 30 years ago, Prince's Chicken has always stepped up. We didn't broadcast it, but, you know, with technology now and, you know, social media, there's more efforts. And it was social media that led us to the Equity Alliance. And so I saw a social media Instagram post about Feed the Block, and they were going to be bringing some hot meals to North Nashville, and they also do Memphis, Tennessee, Clarksville. They've got an event going on right now in Antioch. And so it was just literally reaching out and answering the call. Hey, do y'all need help? We've got a food truck. And the response was immediate. Yes. Lock down a date. Let's identify how many people we can feed. And the community came forward. We started off with 200, and then we had somebody call in and donate some additional funds, and right there on the spot, we did another 100-plus meals.
Well,
so
Kim,
it was a great day yesterday.
Appreciate your effort to support the community there, Kim. And Joshua, I wonder from you, like, what are you seeing that in this moment there are people, you know, even proprietors of a business who are just saying, what can we do, who maybe aren't always looking for a food giveaway to offer?
Yeah, so that's something that, you know, I've been blessed with the skill set of connecting. And so with Break-Thru Tennessee, there are multiple businesses that are saying, how do I get involved? What do I do? And it's very careful as a business. You don't want to just give money to a nonprofit organization and then it just waste it, but that you really vet that nonprofit organization and really know and you make sure that that money is going to where the intended purpose. But yes, you know, in Rutherford County, with the Atlas program in Rutherford County, I have businesses right now that we're gathering resources. We're working with the Atlas program there. My wife being on the Rutherford County School Board, really helping us out. Like even like I got to give a shout out to Hey Roofman, Mark Flores. He's a huge supporter of our nonprofit.
You're saying Hey Roofman?
Hey Roofman. Yeah, that's
so. This is a roofer,
it's a roofing company
in Rutherford County. Okay,
he has supported us so much, and others. David Scott with Restoration XPTN. I mean, just they want to just give, but they don't. They're like. And I'm directing them. Hey, this is how we can do it.
We're going to work in one more phone call before the break. Joseph in Smyrna, you're on this as Nashville Talking Food Insecurity. What's going on?
Right. I was listening to the program, and Josh, I think his name is, said something
right here
about a very effective program that was ended by the the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if he could elucidate on that. It didn't sound proper to me.
Well, there actually have a note from our producer Mary here about that, because we were just sort of making sure we got things right. But yeah, I think Biden cut 2 pandemic-era food programs and repurposed some of those funds, returning to I think what the administration was calling a more long-term, fiscally responsible initiative is how it was described. Putting the money towards schools and food banks that relied on the funding to buy food from local producers. So, but you said that program lasted for about 10 months during the pandemic.
Lasted 10 months, and then the Biden administration came in and it was cut.
I see.
And all I know is that for the normal person, they were coming to get their food boxes, and they would pop their trunk, they get a box of food and a gallon of milk, and all of a sudden, the new administration comes in, they cut it, and then they didn't get it. That program helps millions of people here in Tennessee, and there was no reason for it to be cut.
Yeah, Joseph,
well, did it get reinstated by anybody?
It has not gotten reinstated, and I was told that those funds were reappropriated to other organizations, but I'm telling you, the person that drives up to our locations, and like I'm saying, we had 40 semi trucks going out every week. All they know is that now my kids can't eat. Now we can't eat. Why? Because the Biden administration cut the funding. It's just
one certainly hopes that they have found their way into a new program, but it sounds like it was a fairly effective program. Unintended consequences are certainly a real thing in the government. Joseph, thanks for the call. We're going to take our last break, and then we're going to come back and work in more folks who are doing the good work of helping put food on tables in Middle Tennessee. So if you'd like to join us on the air, the number is 615-760-2000 to get the word out about your pop-up giveaway or whatever you've got going on. We'd love to hear it. 615-760-2000. This is Nashville. Stay with us.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Amazon, proud sponsor of WPLN's daily show, This Is Nashville, engaging our differences so we can discover our unity. More on Amazon's community work at aboutamazon.com. And Wildwood Resort and Marina on Cordell Hall Lake, offering corporate and nonprofit retreats, getaways, and celebrations, 1 hour east of Nashville, year-round. More at visitwildwood.com.
And Harpeth Hall, offering a school experience designed to teach girls in grades 5 through 12 to think critically, lead confidently, and live honorably. Learn more at harpethhall.org.
This is Holly Kernan, president of Nashville Public Radio. I want to thank each of you who joined us during our short fall fundraising drive. Because of you, Nashville Public Radio is here for good. Thank you.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. More than 1 million Tennesseans struggle with food insecurity. According to Feed America, that is 1 in 6 residents in Tennessee. For kids, it's 1 in 5. Not all those people receive SNAP, which, as we've heard, isn't going to cover anyone's total food needs. Producer Josh Deepen talked to Miss Martinez as she was waiting in line at a mobile food pantry.
My last payment was on October 9. So I work at a cafeteria. Yeah, so it's like a part-time job because of my baby goes to school, so I need to pick him up and drop him off.
Are you a single mom?
Yes.
So SNAP helps you as a single mom, would you say, because you can have that payment that you can't get from your part-time job?
Yes, because let's say that my part-time job only pay for my rent and other stuff, and sometimes I'm short. And then my SNAP is just for food.
What are you hoping from the community as the holidays approach?
That everybody have a meal. It can be a decent meal. Don't have to be turkey, maybe just chicken, something, so they can have and eat together.
We know that how much our minds kind of turn to feeding our neighbors during the holidays anyway. So let's hear it. How's your community responding in this moment? Do you have a distribution program you'd like people to know about? Whether it's giving or receiving, join us on air and share, and we'll try to collect those resources together in a web post. The number is 615-760-2000. You can also drop it in the chat at youtube.com/@WPLN. We'll get back to our Roundabout panel here, but may go straight to the phones. Jess in Nashville, you're on the program. What have you got going on with the Equity Alliance? I see here in my notes.
We have the Feed the Block campaign that that is coming out right now. So we're doing this in Nashville, in Clarksville, in Memphis as well. So we are feeding the block this week. We just had our partnership yesterday with Prince's Hot Chicken. It was absolutely amazing. So I just heard Kim Prince on the line. Shout out to Kim. We were able to feed over 300 meals yesterday. So, of course, we knew that there would be a lot of, just a little bit of uncertainty, not only because of the SNAP freeze, but yesterday kids were out of school. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to feed those babies, right? So we did it yesterday as a surprise, but we do this every Wednesday at our North Nashville headquarters from 6 to 7:30.
Wait, every Wednesday? You're saying
every Wednesday from
today,
6 to 7:30.
From 6 to 7:30.
Not today, because we did it yesterday. So
but next week, on Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, we'll be right back at our North Nashville headquarters, which is on 16th Avenue North. Yeah. All you have to do is sign up. You can sign up at www.theequityalliance.org/feedtheblock. And on that website, you can not only sign up to make sure that you are in line to get some food, get a hot plate when you're there, but also partners and supporters can also sign up there to be a block captain. That means that you are sponsoring or hosting a week of meals for us, and we're doing this until December 17th. That's across the state. So we need folks to support us in Nashville, in North Nashville. We need folks to support us in Antioch, and we also need folks to support us in Clarksville and Memphis too. So if you're able to sign up, volunteer, donate, give, whatever that looks like, we need you.
Jess, appreciate the phone call. And our panel here is also going to help us field some of these calls. But Joshua Rosales of Break-Thru, Tennessee, WPLN health reporter Catherine Sweeney, and expert through experience, Alexus Lawless. Joshua, what do you make of kind of the community coming out, seeing the need that they may not be aware of a lot of times, and really taking action?
Well, they don't know what they don't know. And so for us, I think it's our responsibility to say, hey, this is where the need is. Let me help you facilitate to funnel your dollars, your volunteer hours to the need. And so, Rutherford County, a good friend of ours is getting ready to donate 100 turkeys to 100 families in Rutherford County that aren't going to have a Thanksgiving with all the fixings. We also are going to be feeding some MTSU students that are not able to have a Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing that through Hearts of Heart Foundation in Rutherford County. And so there's multiple ways, like I said, again, us getting involved with the Atlas program in Rutherford County.
Which is for students who are homeless in Rutherford County schools.
Yeah, homeless students and their family in Rutherford County. Okay. So,
Alexus, how... it's interesting to me to imagine trying to navigate all the opportunities. It's like, oh, there's a thing we could do over there. There's another thing across town. How do folks keep up with what's available and what's worth trying to stand in line to get?
That is so funny that you're asking that, because I'm literally thinking in my head with the Equity Alliance, I heard nothing about the Feed the Block program. I'm literally online looking up ways that myself, because my family takes MTA all around the city. So
you're on the bus a lot of times.
I'm on the bus carrying those food boxes, trying to distribute those heavy cans into little bags that me and my kids can carry on the buses. So navigating all the information can kind of be overwhelming, can kind of be challenging. Having it, align with the schedule of my kids getting out and making sure that I can get there either with my kids or before they get out and get to my kids on time, it can be a challenge. And I hope that other families that are navigating this are doing a little bit better than I am.
It strikes me so many groups are trying to help. All kinds of impromptu food drives are going on. I'm sure you've heard about them in your own circles. And of course, you still have this logistical challenge of getting food to the people who need it, which is one of the reasons food programs are often requesting monetary donations rather than food. I was talking to Elaine Whitney, who's the founder of One Gen Away in Franklin, which has seen the demand surge by more than 300% in the last few weeks. Here she is.
Well, we're having food drives all over, but also what really helps is donations, monetary donations. Yes, because we can just purchase food at a really low price. So $1.47 feeds one family, for a family of 4, be able to feed them. So that's huge. Yeah.
Joshua, I wonder, as somebody who's the recipient of donations a lot of times, or sometimes people trying to give you things like, what do you want me to do with this pallet of canned goods that are expired or something?
Exactly, all the time. And there's, we have to turn away some of it because we just can't use it. But I think that, this is an opportunity for all of us to come together. Doesn't matter you're Republican or Democrat, conservative, whatever it is. There's a need. We need to come together to meet the need, and that's something that, I'm willing. I love doing, and our organization, we can do it. Whether it's laundry detergent, non-perishable food, clothing, toys, sanitary items. I got my garage. My wife continues to get upset with me because since we bought our house, we have not been able to park our car in our garage because we have so much stuff in there. But yeah, we just, we live, live, and breathe helping people.
Yeah. We've got a few minutes left. If you've got some sort of pop-up giveaway opportunity that you'd like to get on the air, do it now. The number is 615-760-2000, or chime in in the chat at youtube.com/@WPLN. Joshua?
Really quick, go to breakthroughtn.com. We can set up and do a pop-up event to serve anywhere from 300 to 400 people. And we can bring in pop-up tents. We can bring in a bunch of stuff, 27-foot U-Haul truck. We've done it in apartment complexes, trailer parks. We'll grill hot dogs. We will come out and we will do pop-ups, and usually do it twice a year. But if you're out there, go and connect with us and let us know, hey, my community needs this. We'll connect with you. We'll come out. We got the volunteers. We'll do a pop-up event and we'll serve the community.
Yep. Number 615-760-2000. Catherine, what are some of the ways that local governments here have been trying to kind of fill this gap in this moment where so many people have federal food benefits that are not there?
Yeah, one of the things that I just wrote about was the farmers market. It's on Rosa Parks Boulevard outside of downtown. They usually have this thing where people can spend some money on their EBT cards with approved vendors, and then they get these tokens. So it's kind of like for every dollar they spend, they get 2. But they got approval to do that for people who have EBT cards with no money left on them. So if they're in SNAP and they spend $10 of their own money, they can get $10 in tokens to double it, which is hopefully going to be helpful. And then, similar.
Why isn't it just half off? Is there some reason they have to get around some rules?
It's grants are crazy. We work at a nonprofit. We know that there's a bunch of weird rules.
Yeah. Well, what else? I know that it's not all food either, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's something that one of the speakers we had on here brought up that was really helpful is there's this domino effect. And I'm sure Alexus is going to know all about this too, but, not to mansplain, but that's something that came up in this lawsuit. When people lose SNAP help or they lose food benefits, they have to take the money that they would usually use for rent or a car payment or something else and buy food with it. Because if you have kids, you can't just let them go hungry. So then they end up needing help with other things. In the lawsuit, people were getting evicted because they couldn't pay their rent and pay for food. And they were getting their power turned off because they couldn't pay for food and then also their electric bill. But here in Nashville, there are programs for utility help. And especially now that, all these issues with SNAP, there's a big demand for utility help. And that's been a little tough for them, I think, to weather, just because our Metro reporter, Cindy Abrams, has written a bit about some tech problems they were having and then the surge in demand. So, Yeah, long story short, when people lose food access, they're not just losing food, they're losing other stuff too.
I think Metro also accelerated its program where you could get a free bus pass.
Yeah.
Right? I was a little surprised that it wasn't free for like kids to ride the bus. Alexus, is that an opportunity you've taken advantage of?
Yes, I actually did go November 6th and participate in the Journey Bus Pass giveaway, where I did have to wait in line for possibly about 45 minutes, and then go up there, give them my information, give them my kids' information. And I do think that, it's great that Metro schools give bus passes to kids. I do think, however, me having a kindergartner, he's not going to get a bus pass. So, yeah, Journey Bus Pass, it was very beneficial for me. I did not know about that until a bus driver had informed me.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I'm last to know about everything. I live under a rock. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Josh, were you raising your hand? Maybe not.
No, I was.
sorry.
Well, we can probably talk a little bit later on.
Well, you listen. The time is short. So, Catherine, there's a lot of giving going on right now. Whether it's states sort of chipping in or nonprofits doing things. But how does it all compare to the loss of these federal benefits? Can you kind of bring it back to that?
Yeah, I think Signe touched on that a little bit, and that is, any food bank administrator will tell you, for every meal we provide, SNAP provides 9. I think something that people, struggle with politically, they will say, these nonprofit organizations, they should be handling these really big social issues. But if you talk to the people at those nonprofits, they say we could never fill that gap. And again, SNAP benefits in Tennessee are $145 million a month. So that would be a lot of donations for people to try to fill the gap on.
So, Alexus, maybe you close us out here. It's good news today for folks who receive SNAP that it's resuming, although it kind of partial payments. Is the uncertainty less today than it was yesterday?
For me personally, there is no major difference. I was making significant drawbacks well prior to this issue arising, and that's just because I want to and have a goal of getting off of food stamps myself. So, there's less stress for my granny, but for me, it's the same.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Voices on the people of this panel, Alexus Lawless, Joshua Rosales of Break-Thru, Tennessee, and WPLN's Catherine Sweeney. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville's a production of Nashville Public Radio. If you missed yesterday's show, we highlighted 3 of our veteran neighbors, all who've served abroad in post-9/11 conflicts. Their stories gave us a lot to think about. Listen on the podcast feed, thisisnashville.org, or at the WPLN YouTube page. Today's episode produced by Mary Mancini and Josh Deepin, directed by Tasha A.F. Limley, who's also managing that video stream. Josh is also double duty, too, on the phones. Holding down the board, Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. The conversation does not have to end here. You can comment, tell us what you want to hear on the show by leaving us an old-fashioned phone message at 615-751-2500. You can also find us on the socials at This Is Nashville. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.